including our big sister, Auntie Obiesi Kwesili, and including our other big sister, Auntie Bike Dabiri, who are usually considered to be the Methuselah of the Nigerian Diaspora Association. She's been there forever, and possibly that's one of the things we also need to revisit in terms of transitioning to a new generation of leaders to lead the Nigerian Diaspora Organization, a body that had been part of the formative engagement that actually led to the creation of NCTown. I still have copies of several of these documents that we edited vis-a-vis our Nigerian Diaspora Organization worldwide. Back in the days, I have several copies of, the back and forth that involve Honorable Abike Dabiri. I'm still glad you're still there, but hopefully we need to have a transition plan to a new leadership in the organization. Today I've been asked to talk about the disconnects between Nigerian institutions and diaspora communities. And I will speak briefly about that and then pivot to the issue of Nigerian diaspora voting. One of the things I really appreciate in the previous discussion was the contribution of Auntie Obiesi Kwesili, who actually posited that we need more than resources and money from the Nigerian diaspora because what we need, according to her, include partnership, knowledge, and money. But one thing she did not allude to, and which I'm going to be talking about extensively, is the absence of a national and subnational framework for harvesting and harnessing the resources of the Nigerian diasporic community to foster sustainable development at several layers of our national development conversation. There have been some effort here and there to put in place something very close to a framework, but we've not really, have what we can call a national framework for achieving this goal. There has been an effort to create NIDO. NIDO was created and is still there. Of course, it has several challenges. And part of the activities that NIDO agitated for, which NCTown is now implementing, is what we call the National Diaspora Policy. There was a lot of conversation around this, and eventually we had one put in place in 2021. And I believe the policy document is accessible on NCTown website. And one of the things I noticed about this particular policy document is that particularly when you look at chapter 1, it revolves around certain organizing principles, including partnership, which Dr. Obiesi Kwesili spoke about, engagement and synergy, mutuality, empowerment, reciprocity, accountability, integrity, inclusiveness, transparency and communication, sustainability, gender and youth responsiveness, consistency. And one of the things I notice is that many folks in the diaspora, they are not even aware of this policy document, possibly some of those that have spoken about this. But one of the things I noticed about this policy document is that it is full of buzzwords. And the other thing is that it is yet to be translated into a framework for engagement and driving the realization of sustainable development goal in Nigeria. And for this to actually happen, one of the things that is written into this national framework for diasporic engagement, a policy document for diasporic engagement, is that they intend to create platforms structured around the following strategies. One, strategy of engagement, strategy of enablement, and strategy of empowerment. And the whole goal is to leverage several mechanisms, including remittances, National Diaspora Day, providing protection for labor migration, engagement, vis-a-vis, the issue of database, outreaches, and diaspora, creation of diaspora offices. They also spoke about things related to education as one of the thematic issues under their strategy section. They have some issues scoped out about academic and teacher, and things related to student exchange and internship. There's also a noticeable emphasis on healthcare and obviously the Diaspora Day that comes up every 25th of July. But there is something that is important, and that we are believing out in a national conversation on leveraging and annexing the diaspora resources to elicit and accelerate the process of development in Nigeria, which is the fact that we do not have a framework. Policy documents are different from framework, but both can play important roles in guiding actions and decisions intended to achieve a set forth development goal. And usually policy framework are crafted to be broader in scope the frameworks are crafted to be broader in scope than policy, and they also provide a structural approach that guides that guides the process of achieving those goals, and they are always created with context in mind, with scopes in mind, with construct in mind, and with relationship for policy implementation in mind. Unfortunately, we've not been able to achieve this. And that's one of the reasons why when people talk about, what is the diaspora bringing to the table? They focus on remittances. But because we do not have a framework for leveraging the financial resources within the diaspora community, people are always talking about 20 billion coming to Nigeria via remittances annually. But the question has not been asked, what for? The sub-family responsibility. It's massive, it's amazing. But are you aware that only 3%, according to one of the data that I've analyzed, of such remittances only goes to funding, finance, and development in the country? And what that means is that, I'm going to be wrapping that up. So what that means is that we need a framework for making this happen. And for this framework to happen, then we need to start talking about what are the conversations we need to have around creating this framework. And I believe to create this framework, we need to work collaboratively to identify goals and capacity that will form the basis of developing this framework. And we also have to have a program directed at knowing the diaspora. We do not know the diaspora. I've worked in several capacities, including leading diasporic organization, speaking with people that are not even associated with any organization. The Nigerian government doesn't have a database. Sometimes we speak about individual. Diaspora is more than individual. We need a database of people's potential. We do not have that database. That means we don't really know our diaspora. And we need to build trust. This needs to be incorporated, carry over into the development of framework. It's only if we have done all of this, then we can now go to another part of the framework, which is mobilizing stakeholders, the government, the diasporic, and there is a need for effective engagement of diaspora in development. All of these need to be created, to be envisioned within a framework. Even the diaspora voting we're talking about, there must be a framework for it, because there are issues to be addressed within the context of diaspora voting. Electoral security is a big one. Lack of reliable database is a big one. Who defines, who qualifies the diaspora? Senator Honorable Abike Dabiri said the House, the guys in the parliament, they got to make this decision. I consider that problematic. Nigeria is beyond that. We need to have a sustained conversation about who defines what. If the diaspora community are not part of those who define who qualifies as a diaspora, it means we are making policy at the expense of the people that will be driving the process. And there are other things that we need to consider. I want to thank you for the opportunity. And before I go, I also think we need to start focusing on the model created by our people. Because one mistake developing countries have been making about development, so let us study China and adapt what they are doing in China. China is not Nigeria. Let us study what they are doing in the US. US is not Nigeria. We need to study indigenous responses to development teaching.
We have to
I will leave what is one model. It is called Lofty. It's a Lofty Incorporation, one of the Nigerian initiatives that is mobilizing a lot of money to finance development in Nigeria. We need to study systems such as this to drive and localize our responses to development. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jalili. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.